to Inside Ag from Kansas Farm Bureau. I'm Shelby Varner. Casten Fellows is a program through Kansas Farm Bureau to honor the life of Jill Casten Downing, an employee of Kansas Farm Bureau who passed away in April 2019. The program has successfully run its inaugural cohort and is currently accepting applications for the second one. Part of the program includes getting to see agriculture internationally, and to talk about their experience they had with Casten Fellows is Farm Bureau member who is a farmer in Sherman County, Tim Franklin. Thank you, Tim, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
First, Tim, I know that this first group of Casten Fellows all knew and loved Jill, which I think is a great way to have your inaugural cohort. To kind of get us going, can you tell me a little bit about Jill and the impact she had on you?
Yeah, so Jill, her biggest impact she had on me was the conversations we had and her constant challenging to make ourselves better. She could see that there was more inside of me that maybe I could see it, but at the time, and she would push me to become the best individual, the best person, the best Farm Bureau member, whatever topic we were talking about. She was always pushing to make sure you were giving your best and that you understood that you had great value and great worth and that you could do great things if you put your mind to it and your heart to it. And that is the biggest takeaway that I received from Jill in my time of knowing her. And so it was an honor to continue that legacy through the first cohort, to dig in and have tough conversations about myself and with my classmates, to keep striving to make ourselves better, that Jill wanted us all to be the best person we could be.
Jill definitely sounds like an amazing woman, and she contributed a lot to agriculture and Kansas Farm Bureau, which explains why there's a program after her. Can you give us an overview of what the Casten Fellows program is?
Yes, so the Casten Fellow Program is a one-year experience focused heavily on understanding yourself and understanding how you operate and how you respond in certain situations and how other people respond to your personality types and how you respond to theirs. Very introspective, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of challenging questions that I sat on the tractor or combine and stewed about to challenge myself on who I am and what I believe and why do I believe those things, to give me confidence to have conversations with people that are either like-minded or unlike-minded in those topics, and to be okay to have those conversations that are difficult conversations to have, and to be respectful of both sides and to learn and grow through those experiences. So the curriculum for the Casten's cohort, I feel like, prepares you for those conversations, those activities. And then the capstone for us is we were able to go on an international trip and put some of those practices into place, learn about a part of the world that maybe we didn't know much about, learn about agriculture in that part of the world and the challenges that they face, some of which are very similar to ours, some of which are very different than ours. And for us, we went to the Baltic states, so Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, and finished up in Finland, but spent most of our time in the first three countries, and those were behind the Soviet bloc. And so learning about how they were impacted and how that's changed their views of agriculture, of food, having lived through times when there were food lines and people were hungry and there wasn't enough food to go around, and how they have changed and persevered since regaining their independence in 92 or later, depending on the country.
Obviously sounds like you learned a lot and grew a lot as an individual. What initially made you decide to apply, though?
So it was a tough decision, right? We are all busy. We all have other things to do. What really drew me in was the international experience, was the chance to dive deeper into, I would call it, into myself and learning about myself. I've been through other leadership programs and they teach you very good things about dealing with people, but I felt this really focused on yourself and challenging yourself and pushing yourself in ways that other programs I've been involved with don't focus on as much. And so that's an aspect I like. This program will make you uncomfortable. It will challenge you It will make you think outside the box. It will put you in positions or in conversations that you would rather avoid. But that's how we challenge ourselves and learn about ourselves and become who we are.
You touched on a lot of different things that you've gained from this program. If you had one selling point you told someone, what would you tell them is a reason to apply?
The biggest thing that I gained out of this program was the friendship of my other cohorts. Through those conversations, through those challenging experiences, lessons, the friendship that I've gained with those individuals will be lifelong, and they are lifelong. We still text each other regularly. We call each other periodically. We stay in touch. We would love to travel to each other's farms and learn even more about each other. And they've just become another part of the family, right? I mean, they're good friends that you can call, and you're not worried about upsetting them or offending them. You can ask them their true opinions. It becomes kind of a mentor group of peers, which is sometimes hard to find in today's world.
Absolutely. You mentioned the trip you got to take. If you'd like to touch on that again and just explain how agriculture in that region varies from what Kansans see most days.
So I come from Northwest Kansas. So obviously rainfall and water is a big topic for our operation. In the Baltic states, they're blessed with a little bit more plentiful rain than we are. They are a lot more forward or progressive on cover crops and buffer strips. But part of that is tied into their EU farm programs. So it'd be similar to our farm bill here in the US. The European Union and the EU incentivizes certain practices. They incentivize, crops that are grown. So those are some of the similarities and differences. We visited a co-op that had just started up in the last 10 years. And they were excited because they were growing and they were working together as farmers and neighbors to get a better price for their crop and to be able to transport their grain via rail to get a better price in the port cities. And they were really excited about that. And we take that for granted here. I mean, we have several cooperatives in Kansas that are, close to the 100-year-old or more mark. And so some of the things that we take for granted that we've had for generations, they are just building because things were so different under the Soviet rule, community farms, and how those disappeared overnight, and how farmers went from having a job to now there's land that isn't farmed and there's no money to farm it. And can you find a way to start an operation to become successful? And just a whole host of different challenges that provided. And that was in the early 90s. I mean, that's in my lifetime. When I think of those stories, I think of, back in the 30s in the United States, after the Great Depression and the challenges that they had. Well, this is, the early and mid 90s, and they were going through similar challenges and difficulties with changes in political environments. And so it was really eye-opening to see and learn about their challenges, their history, how proud they are to be Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian, and how much they pay attention to what's going on in the US. They know as much about our daily politics and history as we do. And I don't know anything about theirs. And that was very eye-opening to me.
That sounds like very interesting information. From that
Yes.
trip, what was the coolest thing you saw or you had to make sure you took that picture of?
Oh man, there were too many pictures. I think I took close to 2,000 pictures. So limiting that down to one is difficult. Probably the one experience that was the most entertaining, of course, all the farm visits, the technology, the tractors, similar but different. Those were all unique in themselves. We were able to experience some folk music and dancing and hospitality, and their hospitality and love of people and life really came through that night. And that'll be the evening that I remember probably the longest, and just the bonding that we had, across languages, across, different cultures. over food and music and drink was phenomenal.
If someone's thinking about applying to this Casten Fellows program, what would be the final push you tell them to go ahead and apply?
Do it. You will enjoy it. You do have the time. You do have what you need. You do have the support. You do have the friends. They will be there for you. You will make it through. It's up to you to sign up and say, yes, I want to better myself. I want to better my family. I want to learn and challenge myself. And I can make the time to make this happen.
Sounds like a great reason to go ahead and apply. If you are thinking about applying to the Casten Fellows program, those applications are due August 15th. If you would like to find out more information, you can go to www.kfb.org/Casten Fellows. Thank you, Tim, so much for joining us and sharing your experience you had with the Casten Fellows program.
Thanks, Shelby. Have a good day.
You too. That was Tim Franklin, a Kansas Farm Bureau member and farmer in Sherman County. The Casten Fellows program through Kansas Farm Bureau is to honor the life of Jill Casten Downing, who was an employee of Kansas Farm Bureau who passed away in 2019. I'm Shelby Varner, and this has been Inside Ag from Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture.